Hey everyone, Diavolo here, and welcome back to my review for chapter 219 of Tokyo Revengers. If you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews, spoilers, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, let's get into this chapter, as honestly, it's insane, and a lot of what I said last week I think is about to come true from what I've just read. So chapter 219 is called A Sense of Foreboding, which is an obvious reference to the fact that now Takemichi, instead of being able to travel back to the future and check out things that way, he now sees that sense, that foresight, that foreboding of possibilities that could happen in front of him, that he'll be given the option to try and change, I guess. And that's the way that things are going to happen throughout this arc. So I think that title is kind of giving us a sense, I guess, of what's going to happen throughout this chapter and the rest of this arc. And while there, Takemichi and Senju are joking around. Takemichi jokes about how Senju went shopping the other day to buy a bunch of clothes, but she's still wearing her Brahman uniform. And she says that, it's because it's comfortable. And I'm not gonna lie, I would honestly love a Brahman uniform as well, as it looks extremely comfortable and really cool at the same time. So honestly, I would love to get one if there is any possible way. Someone let me know in the comment section down below. But while out on the rides with Senju says to Takemichi that the War of the Three Deities begins on the 14th of July, and Draken and Takemichi are going to handle the Kanto Margin gang. So that's huge. So obviously, like I've said in a video beforehand about how I think the series might end, Draken and Takemichi were the ones who end up, along with a few other toman guys, which probably are not going to be intervening in this. But Draken and Takemichi were the main ones that ended up fighting against Mikey to try and fix him, pretty much. Try and bring him back to the light and change the future. So I could see that it's obviously heading towards that way because they are set up to save them. And then we're given that Takeomi and Senju are going to take care of Rokuhara Tandai. But she also says, in fact, that she can handle this all by herself, which I thought was extremely cocky of her and something like quite reminiscent of Mikey and being the cornerstone, of the gang and being the one that's the strongest there. And she's kind of saying, like that she wants to be number one after she's defeated all of them. So she does have kind of that goal that she wants to rule Tokyo and be the one in charge of everyone. I guess like I was saying last week, how she's got that different aura about her around other people that she wants to be in charge and look up to in a kind of way. And while on the ride still, while Takemichi is absolutely throwing up and like telling her that this isn't a good time to kind of explain things, she says that Takeomi has changed, which is also a huge thing that we've brought up in the past as well, about Takeomi possibly being a traitor within Brahman. She's saying that Takeomi has changed, and it's not about him wanting Brahman to be the strongest anymore, but rather trying to make Brahman bigger, which is a thing that I think we've seen with a lot of other gangs throughout Tokyo Revengers so far. With certain people and certain gangs, they try to evolve the size of their gang. Like even with Toman earlier on, they were super happy when they gained like more divisions and could grow the size of their gang. But at the same time, it's more about the people that are there and having the strongest people. Because as we know with Baji, he could take down 50 of Valhalla's fodder after being stabbed. So it kind of just depends on the people that you have in your gang. And she also says that there's going to be some unsatisfied people. So I'm wondering who she's meaning about unsatisfied. So a lot of innuendos and underlying things that are going on below the surface that we're kind of getting introduced to now, with the possibility that Takeomi might be a traitor, and the fact that, everything is going to be going down on the 14th supposedly. But, as we find out towards this chapter, I don't think that is true. I think things are going to start going down a little bit earlier. And after they get off the ride, in which like Takemichi was throwing up on, Senju sees a tanzaku, which is like a bamboo area that is used to hang colorful cards that have like certain wishes, I guess, on them, and promises that people want to come true perhaps. And hanging them, I guess, like on the bamboo is a good omen, I guess you could say. Here, I think, is where we are introduced to, obviously, the promise that is made in the flash forward that Takemichi sees. And if you guys don't know what flash forward is, it's just what I'm referring to, Takemichi's future sight type thing, and the flash forward that he sees with Senju. Here, it says that Takemichi says in his one that he will defeat Mikey. So that's obviously a foreshadowing towards the end of this arc, in which Takemichi will end up defeating Mikey. And Senju says that's a boring wish, whereas hers is that she will protect Hanagaki, in which Takemichi thinks that she's an extremely straightforward and lovely kind of person. And she says that she's never done this before, and then asks Takemichi if they can be friends. And obviously this is just like the initial translation, so the friends could be wrong and that could be her asking him out on a date, but I don't actually think that. I think the friends probably is the right thing that she is asking here, as Takemichi replies saying, yeah, sure, as he obviously wouldn't do that if she asked him out on a date because obviously of Hina. And he says, you know, well, in that case, if anything happens to you, I'll definitely protect you as well. And then they shake hands. And here again, Takemichi gets the flash forward that he had a few chapters back in 216, but it's a lot clearer now. And we get Senju first saying, Hanagaki, I've fulfilled my promise. And then Takemichi realizes that in his flash forward, he's at an amusement park. As he realizes this, he kind of like snaps back out of it, and Senju asks him what is wrong. And as she asks him what is wrong, like I've said constantly that we do not want to happen, because if this happens, then we're going to freak out because something bad is going to go down. It starts raining. So this is not something that we wanted to happen, as we know in the flash forward that Takemichi has of Senju, where she's lying on the ground stabbed, where she supposedly fulfilled the promise of protecting Takemichi. It is raining, and that was kind of the last thing that we needed to happen, them to be out, Takemichi to be wearing these things, and it to be raining. So this is extremely important. This next chapter, 220, is going to be, I think, one of the most important chapters of this arc so far. From there, we skip away from Takemichi and Senju, and we go over to Draken and Inyupe. And Inyupe speeds up to Draken, who's, you know, working on his bike inside of the motorbike store. And he's telling Draken that he's got some bad news. And he tells Draken that the guys from Rokuhara Tandai are heading towards Takemichi as they speak. So obviously I thought it was Sanzu who was tailing behind Takemichi and Senju while they were at the amusement park, but it looks like there's probably someone from the Rokuhara Tandai who stayed around them, constantly, you know, like spying on them, I guess, waiting till they were alone, and now they're at that perfect opportune moment for them to get pounced on, as Inyupe has got word about this happening. So obviously Draken and Inyupe are going to head to this festival, or to this amusement park. I don't know why I said festival, which is extremely reminiscent of the first thing that happened from the series, like some people have been saying on Twitter very recently, so I agree with that heavily. And as Takemichi realizes, you know, from his flash forward that the amusement park is the place that this happens, he realizes that she keeps his promise to him, and that this happens not in the distant future, that this happens today or tonight. And at the end of the chapter, we have Senju screaming out to Hanagaki, asking him what he's waiting for, you know, obviously to hurry up to her. And so this next chapter coming up is going to be absolutely insane. I don't know what's going to go down or how Takemichi is going to stop it. Is it as he gets closer and closer to the moment, he'll get more and more of a future sight to see what happens so that he can try and change things? That would be quite interesting, but I doubt it. I think that Takemichi is probably going to have to work with at least what he's been given for now for the next chapter or two, until possibly he sees more. But yeah, as I was saying, this next chapter is going to be absolutely insane, and I think probably the biggest chapter so far of this arc, just with how things are lining up theory-wise that I've been putting together, and story-wise. It's all building up to a big moment right now, the first big moment of this arc, so it's awesome and I can't wait to get into it. I'd love to know what you guys all think down in the comment section below, of course, so make sure you do chuck a comment down there. And if you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews, spoilers, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, for now it's been your professional degenerate, Diavolo, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye.